Welcome to WFUZ-TV, the People's Voice podcast. I'm Blair Castro, here with Thomas Jenkins, and today we have the one and only Jerry Carl with us today. I bet you guys did never think this was going to happen, but here he is in the studio with us in Gulf Shores. Mr. Carl, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure. I told you we would do this. I just didn't know when we'd get around to it. Now's a great time.
It is. Where we're filming right now, we have just a short time again. I know we've all kind of got election fatigue, but there is still a congressional primary on August 11th, thanks to the redistricting. So tell us a little bit about, number one, how that came to be and the new district, just for a brief reminder of people that might not know, and then a little about your background and experience.
Well, the district itself is basically the same district it was back 3 years ago before it got redrawn. NAACP and some lawsuits got it redrawn to the state, and it got redrawn, obviously, in the new district all the way out to Dothan, long district all the way across the Wiregrass. We fought it. We had fought it for 3 years. The Supreme Court finally ruled that the state's responsibility to draw the district, not the responsibility of the federal government. And also that the people have got a right to be heard, not a particular race. Race was an issue in that lawsuit. So we're counted as people now, not as a race, which I think is very important. We've worked most of our life to get away from racial issues and make it more of a social or a personal, group issues in our communities. But yet the government wants to split us apart and make it a racial issue. It just always fascinates me why in the world we allow that, but it does happen. So we're back to the original district. The district runs Mobile County, Baldwin County, Escambia County, and Covington County, which was added to it. So we're excited to be back. My journey starts very simple. I've been in business for myself for the past 40 plus years, primarily home health care and equipment and pharmacies. Also did a little bit of real estate development, even owned a bed and breakfast at one point in my life. If you ever want to get even with somebody, talk them into having a bed and breakfast. I'm not a very good counselor when it comes to social issues, but got involved in politics mainly because of my son. Deployed into Afghanistan. I looked to see what I had done in my life to equal what this 19-year-old was doing at that time. I couldn't come up with anything I had ever done. So I started searching community, searching for ideas of what I could do to give back. And local government was my way of giving back. I got involved in local government, and I certainly enjoyed it. I loved my 8 years as a county commissioner. This seat opened up, this District 1, when Bradley Byrne was a congressman at the time, and he chose to run for U.S. Senate also. And of course, I ran for it and won it. Served two tours, listen at me. I served 2 terms in Congress, and hopefully I get to go back for my third.
So what made you want to, I guess, get back into that job after kind of being out of it for a while?
I love the job itself, as crazy as that sounds, and everybody thinks I'm a little messed up for thinking this way, but, someone's got to do it. I understand it now. I've got 4 years experience. I understand the process of how it works. I love constituents. I love people. I love their problems. I love to be able to fix it. It's all the other things of DC that you have to tolerate. There's a lot of negative that goes along with any job, and DC certainly is no different than life itself. You have to tolerate some of the negative portions of it, but I get to represent some pretty awesome people here in District 1. So for me to go to DC and represent them and be their voice is quite a privilege.
What's the biggest challenge that you've faced, and how you've faced it makes you separate from your competition?
Well, I've already done it. I've been on appropriations, I've been on armed services, and I've been in natural resources. Again, I understand the process, and that's not some dark political statement. The process itself is, how a bill is actually born, how a concept is born in your district, how you take that concept back to Congress, how you get it put into a committee to a bill back to a committee, and then back on the floor for an actual vote. I understand that process now. And that's important. And you don't learn that kind of stuff overnight. So, I like that portion of it. And it's hard though. It's an exhausting job. Up there we walk somewhere between 4 to 6 miles a day, underground primarily. They have tunnels that take us all around, we take ourselves around, move around. So when you go DC and you don't see a lot of people moving around, it's like an anthill. They're all underground moving. So it's a pretty cool place.
So I didn't realize you only served 2 terms, you were saying. So people said, Jerry Carl's a career politician. He's been there forever. You've really only been there 2 terms. What would you say to people? I mean, how do you feel about term limits and people that have been there for, 30, 40 years?
Yeah, well, 30, 40 years too long being in any position, period. I think we should do term limits. I think term limits for Senate should be 2 terms, which is a total of 12 years. I think it should be 12 years for the House members too. 12 and 12 sounds fair to me. The average congressman now only stays 6.5 years. So that will surprise most people. The average congressman does not last long. It's a high pressure, very burnout job. Most will only stay 2 years and figure out it's nothing like they anticipated and get out. Senate is much different. Their speed and how they move and how they deal with things are so much different than the House itself. The House itself is just so fast moving. But term limits, of course. Now getting them passed, we get a term limit bill brought up probably once a month in Congress, and it never makes it to the floor.
About how long does it take to get your feet wet and really feel confident in knowing what you're doing in that office?
For me, the first 2 years was all experimental. Now, it was during the COVID phase, granted, and we were all in a haze. And, I'd taken the COVID shots, and I still don't feel normal after the COVID shots. That's another conversation for another day if you want to have it. But the first 2 years was tough. The second 2 years, I really got my feet up under me. I understood the appropriation process. They had moved me from armed services over to appropriations, so I understood how to get to read that documentation coming through. The important thing about appropriations is not what he can spend on you, is how much money he can save you. So when those appropriation package comes in and you start reading what the money's going for, and I use this as an example because it's a true example, and you see $16 million for a dance studio in Guatemala, or Honduras, I think it was Guatemala though. And you ask questions, what's this $16 million going to Guatemala for? Mm-hmm. Well, it's for an LGBTQ dance studio. And my question is why are we spending $16 million on that dance studio in Guatemala and not in America? Yeah. Not on our troops, not on our people. So in appropriations, it's important to have people that can identify that type of stuff and start stripping it out. And when you start stripping it out, you get the people on the other side of the aisle, they start screaming. And that's when it becomes a dog and cat fight.
Yeah, we were talking about the SAVE Act yesterday. We were having some lunch, and we were wondering if there was any kind of pork that was inserted into the SAVE Act that was keeping it from moving through.
I haven't read the SAVE Act. I mean, on the concept, I can't understand why anybody would be against it. Mm-hmm. I mean, we identify ourselves, obviously somebody my age doesn't, but, you want to buy a pack of cigarettes or an alcohol or, and you look less than 40 years old, they're going to card you. I mean, it's just, you go to vote, should be the same way. I don't understand what the problem is with the SAVE Act. I have heard no one say anything about anything that has been filled into that. I may be wrong, but I haven't heard any conversation about that.
Yeah, we were wondering because it seems like an easy win that would pass, and we were thinking, oh, maybe something's like shoved in there that we don't know, but same thing. I probably should read it. Yeah.
Well, I understand there's 3 or 4 of the senators that just don't like Donald Trump. And there's a lot of people we have to work with that we don't like, but to shut a whole system down or to turn your back on a country, I think that's pretty selfish.
So speaking of Trump, just yesterday or the day before, you got the coveted Trump endorsement, which everybody wants. I don't think he's endorsed somebody that's lost yet. So that's very
pretty good record going right now.
How did that make you feel? What happened when you got that call?
Well, I was hoping it was going to be a phone call, but I didn't get a phone call. I've been endorsed by him twice so far. And both times I did get a phone call and had a strong conversation with him. he obviously released several endorsements yesterday, and mine was one of them. I actually found out Katie Britt sent me a note of all people, and she wasn't too busy on the floor or something, I guess, at the moment, but she sent it to me, congratulating me. So that's how I actually found out about it, which was exciting. But I'm excited to have it. I mean, it's quite an honor. I mean, it's if we were back in the Boy Scouts, it'd be quite a merit badge, I guess. The president has always treated me with respect. I've always worked with him. Even when he wasn't in office, and we worked well together. So I'm excited to get back up there and work with him to get the things like the SAVE Act, some of his agenda pushed across the line. We'll have 2 years when I get up there, and we're gonna do our best to get it done.
What is it like working up there in the current political atmosphere, all the turbulence just within the Republican Party itself, much less the Democrats versus Trump?
Well, the Democrat Party and the Republican Party are definitely different in the mindset. The Democrat Party, if you get out of line, they're going to strip them. Like, for example, I'm on appropriations. You know that if I and the Democrat Party get out of line, they're going to take me off appropriations and put me on some committee that no one wants. You know it's going to happen if you don't walk the line. The Republican Party is more free thinkers. We argue, we squabble behind closed doors. Some of the conversations and screaming that goes on needs to happen. It's like siblings or rivalry among themselves. And when we come out on the floor, we need to be as one. So, that's the biggest difference between the Republicans and Democrats. I never got to serve under a Republican president. I did serve under Biden, which it was a challenge because I understood. I'll never forget the first time that I got around Biden, and it was shocking. I mean, he was like a walking ghost. I mean, just pale white, skinny, just most unhealthy looking man. I was just so every day I got up in fear of what next was going to happen. We all knew he was not running the office. Yeah. We knew, his staff was, and who his staff was, it's pretty liberal folks. So now I get to serve under a Republican president. I hope we can play well together as a Republican Party. You've always got one or two loose ends. That's just nature. But it's our job, and I'm one of those people. I was actually on the whip team. And the whip team is very simple. When we have a vote, we know it's going to be a strong vote or a challenged vote. I have a half a dozen people I go and sit with, and I ask them, I say, well, how do you feel about this vote? You're against it, and I mark down you're against it. I do my 6, take it back. Then we start focusing on that one vote that did not like what's coming out. We find out what he didn't like about it. We find out what he does like about it. We can actually go back from the conversation with him if we feel like it and actually change it a little bit to fit what he's looking for. Because his constituents are worried about one little piece of it. So we want to try to make it as comfortable for him as we possibly can. We need his vote. So being on the whip committee, you learn how to communicate because you got to be a good listener. You got to be able to listen to most of the time what they're not telling you.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some things outside of your experience, like your character traits, the things that make you you? Because you're a very nice person. You're very, you have a good disposition, I think. And we've met with a lot of politicians, and some people are, very full of themselves and very not down to earth. And I would say that you were not that. You're definitely a down to earth kind of guy. And what are those qualities that you have that you think make you the best choice for this job?
I don't know if it's qualities or not. I mean, I've always tried to be humble. I had some humble roots. My probably not the strongest family in the world. Certainly don't have the education that most people think that I have. But I've always been humble and very, very strong in my faith. And looking at the world, I've tried to find goodness in everything. You're always looking for something good, something positive. And pushing through it. And there's evil out there. We all know that. Identifying that and dealing with it's a different scenario. But I think it's a good trait when you're trying to find goodness in people, and it's a great place to start.
So I wanted to ask about some of your endorsements. I know you have quite a few.
Yeah.
What are some of the ones you're most proud of? And remind people some of the endorsements that you have.
So Donald Trump obviously was a huge one. That one goes without a doubt. It's top shelf. But yesterday we got so many endorsements, and we got another one today that are huge. I mean, we just state endorsements from state organizations. We got it from convenience store group. I mean, we're lining up several that we can't talk about today. But yesterday they piled on. We got Speaker Johnson, Mike, very good friend of mine. Speaker Johnson endorsed us. I think they were all waiting for Trump to kind of pull the plug on the dam. Emory, we've got 4 out of Congress, out of leadership. I mean, we just stacked them up yesterday. Katie Britt endorsed us yesterday. She had agreed 3 weeks ago to support us. I had a good, strong conversation with Katie, and it was a good conversation, very positive. And she endorsed us yesterday, which I found that to be very humbling too.
And Alpha.
Oh, gosh, don't forget Alpha. My gosh, there's the lion in the room right there.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm at. Thank you. I hope Alpha doesn't see this. I didn't forget you.
They've had a lot of wins. I think they've
Yeah.
shown how effective they can be and how much that endorsement really does mean.
As an organization, I've been on the inside and watched them, and being in Congress, you see them a lot. They come and visit with you a lot. And they really don't ask you for anything other than time, and they want to explain how the farmers are, and they want to explain what it means to the farm community. They truly represent the farm community. And I invited them to come in. Mitt Walker, which is their lobbyist, I'd come in a lot of times, and Mitt would be with his feet propped up on my desk waiting on me, which is fine with me. That's great, because it would be something new, that a new problem or a new opportunity to come up with, because our farm community, my Lord, if we don't take care of them, we're going to go hungry pretty quick.
For sure.
And there's so many jobs in this district. I mean, look around here. Everything north of here, obviously, is farm communities. We love our farmers. They're very humble, down to earth people, and they feed us every day. Can't forget that.
There were a couple of surprises with this last election, one being turnout, and two, there being a higher Democratic vote turnout than in the past. That being said, with the situation that's going on with Tuberville right now, theoretically, if he was disqualified from the race and there was a stronger chance for a Democrat to win, what do you think that would look like for Alabama?
Wow, there's a lot in that. Let me see if I can peel that onion. First of all, I don't think Coach is going anywhere. I think Coach has got a solid foundation. I talked to him 3 years ago when he started talking about running. I was with him in Washington, and he talked to me about it. I said, the issue came up about his residents in the conversation. He said, I've got that all covered, all documented. I'm in good shape. So I have to follow Coach. Coach has never lied to me, and if Coach says it's true, it's true. The low turnout on this race, I think as a state, as a supermajority, meaning the Republican Party, we are falling asleep at the wheel. I think we're taking for granted the fact that we could lose this state. Huntsville is a good example. Is turning purple with so many new residents moving in there with the FBI and NASA and all the different groups that are moving in there. And we're glad to have those jobs. Just keep sending those jobs. But it's our job as a Republican Party also to get up there and tell them why the Republican Party is better than the Democrat Party that they used to deal with. So we, as a Republican Party, I think, falling asleep at the wheel. We've got to do a better job of getting people to turn out. And how to do that, I don't know. People have got fatigue right now. They're tired of races. They're tired of all the bickering. I mean, you look at this race that we just ran. There was a couple little squabbles here and there. Not much at all. Out of a 7-man race during that race, we stayed pretty darn on point. And I promised myself and I promised God that I was going to focus on me, myself, and I. That's the only 3 people I was going to focus on. And I did. And we all kind of held our mud and we didn't throw it, which is, we need to get back more to that. Tell me why to vote for you. Don't tell me why I need to vote against this person. And I hope this race stays the same. It's going to be a very short race. Obviously, it's just a snapshot. I think we got less than 50 days left now. Not sure when this gets released, but it'll probably be less than that, obviously. But it's a very, focus on the candidate, focus on the candidate's qualifications. Well, how do they qualify? In this state, I think we've gotten away from that. I think we've allowed the talking heads to tell us it's more important to trash someone than it is to build yourself up.
Yeah.
I want people to vote for me, not against him.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Now that vote, I'll still take that vote. Don't get me wrong, but it makes me feel better when people say, "I like what you said. I'm gonna vote for you," versus "I dislike that guy. I'm gonna vote for you."
Yeah. Yeah. Mainstream media has not been a help in these last few years on anything.
Yeah, and it's frustrating.
Going back to we take it for granted that this is a red state sometimes. So I'm from Pensacola, from Northwest Florida, and that was one of the most conservative, districts, Florida Congressional 1. And I worked that district a few times. The very last cycle where Petronas was running after, Gates went up to Attorney General and left his seat and then resigned. That Escambia County, which is the most populated county there, flipped blue. So the rest of the district still was red, but a huge county has already flipped blue since that last cycle. And that really surprised a lot of people because it had been so deeply red for such a long time. And I think that's directly next to Alabama. And we have all this growth. We have all this, we live down here at the beach and we can't get through traffic. It's just people, with all that people comes different ideas and different political backgrounds and opinions. So we have to really take that into consideration. And even John Wall was here talking about this too. The Republican Party, I think, should be building and not just trying to hold on to what they have. You have to also be building. And that means, doing things to have outreach to minorities and young people and other things and keep building that base. And I would like to see that for Alabama.
I think the young people scenario is certainly something we need to focus more on. The minorities, we've been working on that for a while. I think the minority, the mentality, breaking that mentality, you're born a Democrat, you voted Democrat your entire life. When I was a child, everybody was a Democrat. Everybody was a Democrat. And that has changed, obviously. We didn't leave the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party left us. And so it's we have got to do a better job of trying to bring those people in. You're talking about Petronas over in Pensacola. His family's actually from Baldwin County. So all the there, Malbus, those were all Petronas, the Greek families that set that up.
Oh.
That's his family, which I talked to him the other day. I thought it was a pretty neat story.
That, Pensacola is just changing so much. And so is Baldwin County in a lot of ways. So when it comes to constituents bringing forth issues that they want to see you work on in Congress, I know people don't realize what Congress does is appropriate a budget. They can't go in and solve every issue. But in terms of that, what do you think is the number one issue that people are asking for help with?
The number one issue in Baldwin County is the infrastructure. Everyone's screaming about infrastructure. Moving around right now in Baldwin County is a nightmare. From Foley, it took us 40 minutes to get here. It's just bumper to bumper traffic. So it's infrastructure. Those are the things that they're looking for. They want cheaper gas. They want to get the cost of a dozen eggs. They want to get costs down. We've got to get we got to get payments up. We got to get income up. I don't know how you're going to ever get prices down. I'll tell you some of the stuff that I would love to focus on is price gouging. The way they raise these fuel prices every time the barrel of gas goes up. If we did that during a hurricane, they'd put us in jail. That's price gouging where I'm from. And I think there's got to be some control, not necessarily just on the fuel industry, but looking at some of this other stuff too.
I feel like to do that
we never see it come down.
With healthcare too, and some of the prescription meds, price gouging and stuff like that too. It's kind of crazy. So, I think me as a younger person, I'm 38, not so young, but
You're
one of the things, one of the things I care about is I want to be able to buy a house one day. And I feel like it's very out of reach because houses are incredibly expensive, especially in Gulf Shores.
Yeah, fix her up for $375,000.
Yeah, it just seems really like a pipe dream. And then affordability in general, because even with a 2-income household, it's hard. Like everything, like you said, is just incredibly high compared to 10 years ago when, I didn't think things would be like this. And you do everything right. You go to school. Like for me, I went to college, went to law school, did all this stuff, took out student loans to make it happen. And then you're hit with all this. And it's like, wow, how am I going to make this work? So I guess as a congressman, what can you do to kind of help the quality of life for people kind of like us?
The one thing, and this goes over people's head, they don't quite get it, but I deal with a lot of different corporations that move through, and I'm always looking for corporations that are looking for a new home. When I left Congress, I was working with a group that wanted to build nothing but 155 caliber shell ammo. It was going to be a huge plant, and I was talking to them. It was actually outside my district, but I had them interested in moving. I kept moving them further south, and I was trying to get new jobs. I mean, this is technology. It's all new. That these are long-term jobs that we can fill. So a lot of these companies that are moving through, Amazon Distribution Center in Mobile is a good example. That was a cotton field. They brought me the project. I was a county commissioner at the time. They brought me the project. I looked at it and I said, I know exactly where it needs to go. I was about a half a mile off, but it was a good place to start. And the reason they wanted it or looked at it was the on and off ramp for all their trucking needs. Well, that's roughly about 1,100 jobs that require no college education. And when you look as a leader of a community, you have to look at the base that you're working with. Do you have a group that's got 2 years of college? Do you have a group that's got some trades about them? Any young person that's looking what to do right now, look at the trades industry. If you learn how to weld, if you learn electrical, plumbing, pipe fitting, anything in the trades field, you'll always have a job. You'll never be without a job. And that's very, very important. Our shipping industry is about to explode over in Mobile, and we've got some big plans of some stuff that's about to come in. That the maritime industry, which I've been working with over the last year, not as a congressman, just as an individual from Mobile, that I've been flying back and forth to New Jersey and looking at some ports on some issues. We have got to get prepared for that. Those are going to be well-paid jobs. That's the way you can encourage young people, by getting those skills and getting those trades and being able to go out and make more money. Because when they make more money, and it's feeding into the community, our roads get better. All of our government entities around local government gets better. In Baldwin County, it's an infrastructure issue. We've got to fix the infrastructure in Baldwin County. We, the federal government, can't fix that. We can help. We can assist, but it's going to take good county government. It's going to take good state government that's got a team player that's in Washington that's willing to work with them.
So you're right about the maritime industry. One of my 5 jobs is that I work for a barge broker and I sell barges and tugboats.
Really? They weren't out of Missouri, were they?
Some of them are. There's mostly out of like New Orleans and the Houma area, but we go to like all the ports and stuff. And, I went to law school, and I always say, like, it's funny because you think being a lawyer is going to get you all this money. It really doesn't. Like, you still have to pick up these side jobs and do other things in order to survive. I teach law at Pensacola State College, and there's just so much. Like, there's really no way to just have one job, one industry and survive, I think, for people nowadays. If you do, then you're very lucky. But for me, it was like you need to pick up where you can get up and find different skill sets. And people, like you said, those industries really are good things to tap into. It doesn't necessarily have to be out there welding something. Like, you can just be doing the marketing for it, or doing the web design for it, or doing something for it, and to think outside the box when it comes to different industry specifications.
I've always had 2 or 3 jobs going at all times. Yeah. I've always had 3 or 4 or 5 companies. I think at most I had about 7 companies running at one time and doing different things. So it's just the way my mind works. I'm multitasking constantly.
So what are some things about your personal life? Like, I know you were from Mobile County and you were county commissioner there, but before that, what about your family and your background, and where are you from originally?
So I was born in Mobile. My parents got a divorce when I was about 6 years old, and I moved. My mother was from Talladega County, so she packed us up and we moved. Had 3 older sisters, very mean older sisters, I might add. No, they were great to me. But we moved to Sylacauga. She opened up a fabric store, and 2 of us, my oldest sister, got married by then, but the the three of us youngers grew up in the retail business. So we grew up, cutting material and picking out fabric and hauling material. Sunday, when Mother would get stuff brought in, we'd go down on Sunday afternoon and sort buttons or fold material or do something. So we just grew up working. We thought that was pretty normal as a family. Left there, high school, graduated from high school there, played a little ball, didn't no college ball. Short time in school, I wanted to get into forestry. Got into forestry and decided setting up in a fire tower all day probably wasn't fit my ADD personality. So I came to Mobile and just actually moved back to Mobile. My dad, I always loved Mobile and was kind of connected to Mobile. I moved back to Mobile and met my wife and got married, and the rest is history. So I was throwing Cokes when I met her, working for Coca-Cola. So,
Oh, wow.
and then I went from that to selling church furniture. So she married a pretty unstable job-wise guy. We still laugh about it, but we did well. We've always been a team player. She's always had my back. She always will. Married 45 years last month.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that's obviously been the majority of my life. So, but we've raised some great kids. We have some great grandkids. We have some great grandchildren, I should say, and we're excited about the future.
That's awesome. Anything you want people to know, make your plea as to why they should vote for you in August, why they should come out to vote for one, and then why that vote should be for you.
I want people to vote for me because they want somebody that wants to represent them in Washington. They want somebody that understands what the needs are. I've lived here. I've grown up here. I've spent enough time in all four of these counties. I understand what the needs are. I want to represent you in Washington every day, not just 3 days a week. I love this district. This district has been very good to me, and it's time we get things to the next level. Mobile, Baldwin County, Covington County, and Escambia County are on the verge of some huge, huge positive things that are going to happen. But it won't happen unless you've got strong leadership. That's one thing. That's where I step in, the strong leadership portion. I want to be your next congressman. So please, August the 11th, get out and vote. Take your family to vote. Ask your friends to vote. It's going to be a very low vote turnout. We already anticipate that. So if you don't vote, it's going to be lower. Your vote counts. People say all the time, oh, I'm just one vote. I know a congressman that won by 6 votes. We call her Six Pack. That is her nickname because she won by 6 votes. Every vote counts. So please get out and vote.
And where can they find you online to learn more?
JerryCarlForCongress.com. Please get online. We've got a group of volunteers that would love to hear from you. We're going to need people to poll watch. We're going to need people to make phone calls. We're going to need people to help us do some things. Obviously, contributions are always welcome. But just JerryCarlOnline.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.